Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm freezing. So, if you can't tell, uh, I don't know. I think I told you last week that I was also having electrical problems back here. So, I don't have my space heater on. I'm freezing. It's probably at the warmest, it's probably like 62 in this room. I bet it's colder than that, even though. So, I foregoed the incense today in favor of a little candle, thinking maybe I could trick myself into thinking it was not as cold back here as it is. But anyway, hello everyone. Hello, Krista and Meta and Annie and Kara and I hope I didn't miss anyone else. Uh, let's see. What are we gonna do today? We are, hello, Tammy, welcome. Um, we're gonna go over our homework and, girl, for real, I should not have my Raynaud's toes in my own house, but I do. Um, yeah, so we're gonna look at our homework and remember that the only thing I'm looking at here is the line work and the way that you've applied those concepts. And then we will um, spend some time talking about some other things. Ask me if I was ready to look at your um, homework. The answer is no. So give me just 1 second here so I can get your homework up on my screen. Come on. Okay. Oh, that's not the right one. Hello, Ashley. Window. There we go. Alrighty. Here we go. We can finally look at our homework. Um, sorry if I'm making you guys dizzy. We'll just blow this bad boy on up. All right. So let's start. Well, let's start over here. Okay, we're going to start with Ashley just because I'm already at the bottom. We'll just go up from there. So here is Ashley's at the top is energy. At the middle is quiet. Why can't I scroll? Apparently I can't scroll. There we go. Quiet. And here we have motion. So let's talk about energy first. So, Ashley, I think that you have some good energy in here. There's good texture up in here with the, like all the little textury, colory bits. They they do seem to have a bit of a vibration, so it definitely doesn't look static. Quiet. Again, the texture is what's selling that. Your shadow is very quiet, very soft. Same with the texture throughout. And on motion, yeah, I think we have some good motion there. I like the way you use these swirlies to kind of describe that, but I really love this shadow. And I really, really love the way that you've described motion with that shadow. You use kind of these back and forth. So it looks like it starts on the right, it whips to the left and back around to the right. And I think that that kind of gives that feeling of motion. Let's see. The one thing And this is a common thing that we're going to see in almost everybody's homework today. So, Ashley, I am not picking on you. This is what I saw in almost everybody's homework. We focused for a lot of the pieces, we tended to focus on the contour lines. So the contour being the outside line. And you don't have it quite so much at the bottom here. We have the contour lines that kind of move in that arc. And other than that, I would say these are really good. We want to, the only reason I'm kind of harping on contour lines is because I think that when we are newer to art, when we're newer to like drawing and describing physical objects, let's just talk about clouds. I see it a lot where, let's go over here and I'll kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about here. I'm not saying that contour lines, again, that's the outside line. I'm not saying that contour lines are wrong, that we shouldn't use them. They exist for a reason. We should be using contour lines when necessary. Let me get this cable out of the way. But when we lean too much on, when we rely too much on contour lines, that can really make things look flat. So let me show you. And again, Ashley, this is not a you thing. This is something I had already planned on talking about. So just getting a little bit of paint here. So let's talk about clouds, because that tends to be one that I see a lot of contour action on, where it's really just that outer edge that people focus on. So my cloud's gonna be black, so it shows up on the paper. Okay, so get my black paint. So I'll see people do clouds, kind of, you know, like this, whatever. Let's just say these are actual clouds. They're a decent shape. Okay, we're gonna pretend like those are decent shaped clouds. That's just all filled in. There's not really any contour lines or anything. But now let's say we want to put highlights on it. I see this a lot. Maybe you've done it. Maybe you've seen other people do it. We want to highlight this cloud. So we come up to the edges. And it's a lot of this. Those are contour lines. So instead, what I want to focus on is making, just as an exercise, I want to try making objects without the contour lines and instead kind of describing what's inside. Cross contour lines are okay. We can use the cross contour lines. So let's talk about our rock again. So here's our rock described only with contour lines. Okay. So instead of that, let's try making our rock with as few contour lines as possible. Maybe you do need one on the bottom. I like the way you did that with it being on the bottom, because that offers stability to our rock. Okay. But then from there, what's the rock doing inside? See how loose and kind of everywhere those brush marks are. That's kind of what I want to try and focus on. So with our homework that we have today, that'll be our focus. So, and again, I chose the rock because it had next to no detail in it. I didn't want you guys getting hung up on details. So, yeah, If your rock looks like a weird potato, that's good. Okay. Let me jump back over to Ashley's thing again. Hello. Um, so, but yeah, you did communicate the whatever you want to call them, the energy, the quiet, the movement, really well with your brushwork. This brushwork feels energetic with the breaks and kind of seeing through some of that feels a little vibrational. The quiet, your brushwork is much smoother, which makes it feel more quiet. And the motion, very energetic, especially love that shadow. Excellent work. Let's see. Where am I going now? And if anyone has any questions, if you want to clarify something I've said, if I know that sometimes the way that I can deliver information might sound much more critical than I mean it. So please don't hesitate to like be like, I don't like that, or whatever. It was helpful. Okay, good. Yeah. Oh, those were with pastels. Oh, I didn't even realize that. I think I just assumed you were using like a stiff dry brush. So yeah, interesting. I liked it. Okay, good. Because I do not want to come across as being critical or dismissive or, you know, diminishing your efforts to anything for anybody. So let's do our next one. All right. So, whoops, my computer just about dumped on the floor. So here we have Kara's. If I can get in here. Okay. So we're going to skip talking about contour lines. We're going to kind of take the contour lines as read. Um, so Kara's top one is energy. And I do really like your brushwork on this. Those broken lines, especially on the right side here next to that dark, heavy line, that does feel very energetic. It feels, yeah, it feels like it's, just kind of buzzing. And I really like that. And while you do have the contour lines, like I said that I wasn't going to talk about, you've changed the angle of some of it. Like this line, I hope you guys can see my mouse. This line at the top left that curls around upward a little bit differently than everything else, that feels a little bit more like a cross contour line, which gives it a little bit more volume. Makes it feel not flat. It gives it a little more energy. So that's really good. I like that. Your quiet one, again, very smooth brushwork. You also made it quiet in your colors. Oh, I was going to say something specific and I just lost what it was. Oh, it's also quiet because it's not quite so broken as the energetic one. If something is sitting quietly, then, there's not a lot of kind of chaos and vibration there. And I think that you did that really well. Again, let's work on getting some cross contour lines and maybe just some more unpredictable. That's the word I'm going for. A little bit of unpredictability in our brushwork. And our last one is motion, quick, deliberate strokes. And yeah, you've got those breaks around the edge. And I like the positioning of your rock is a little bit different here than the other ones. How it's kind of more bulgy here at the bottom on the left, and it's kind of pointing up a little more on the right. To me, that makes it feel like the rock is moving toward the right, like it's rolling. That right end is about to come down. And so I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but yeah, I think that those are really good. we will work on contour lines. But yeah, I think that you guys are getting the point across that we're looking for, and that's excellent. All right, Donna. Donna submitted this homework, and I glanced at all of this really quickly, and it's excellent work. The only one I really wanted to point out was this energetic brush stroke. I can almost feel exactly how this brush stroke was made. Like, it feels very energetic. One other thing that you did really, I don't think Donna's here right now, but one other thing that Donna did really well with this brush stroke, something we haven't talked about yet, is creating space. This brush stroke feels like it's moving through 3D space, like it's kind of coming toward us and dropping off. And so anyway, it does feel very energetic. With our rock, she didn't label which vibe she was going for here. I think that it's a pretty good representation of the rock. I want to make sure that we are trying to break away from, like the side to side fill in. So I really like kind of the brushwork to the back here. This feels a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little more unpredictable. It's a little bit more wild, and that's a good thing. And then toward the front here, it kind of feels like it flattens out just a little bit. So Donna, I would love to see you carry what's going on back here throughout. And I like that your outer edges are loose. One other line that Donna did here that I think is very effective is you did a really good job with the weighted lines. So what I mean is this dark outline that goes from the top left here all the way around under the bottom. It's dark, it's heavy, which says that the stone has mass, it has weight, and it also shows that it's anchored to the ground. It helps kind of agree with the shadow. But then as we move over here to the right, toward the tip of the rock, we see that that line becomes very thin, very transparent. It even breaks. And what that does is it turns the tip of that rock away from us a little bit. That's moving into the distance, and that's excellent. So remember that the thicker, heavier lines, like we have here on the back, those move forward. They come toward us. Where these more transparent, even broken lines, they move away from us. So you can use that in your art when you're painting anything. You want something to be close to you and a little bit more just define the actual space that an object exists in. Use your weighted lines like that. That was really nice. All right. Let's see. Annie, what did you use? Oh, Neo colors. Really? That's interesting. It looks like alcohol ink. Oh, I can see on the bottom one here that it's the Neo colors. That's cool. A really interesting look. So, Annie, we have energy, and I would definitely say that is, well, let me get a better, there we go. That is quite energetic, especially the broken ends of these brush marks here. And everything kind of swooping. It does give a bit of a turbulent feel in there. Let's see, our quiet. Those are definitely smooth, quiet brush marks. What I think could have sold the quiet on here a little bit more is if all of the brush marks were nice and soft. See this? Can you get, will somebody just tell me if you can see my mouse? I have no idea if you can see my mouse at all. Let me see if I have an option of, Capture. It says that you can see my mouse, so you should be able to see it, but let me know. But this spot right here, where the paint is very transparent, it's kind of blurring out, and there's some like soft broken edge right there. I would love to see all of these crisp lines all throughout, inside and outside, to be soft like that. Let the color be, have heavier brush strokes inside or toward the bottom if you need to help describe the mass and the shape of the object. But very soft, transparent edges would really help sell the quietness of this. Yep, you see it. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And motion. It's so hard. I don't know why it won't scroll, so I have to click in just the right spot or I can't see the whole thing. So motion, we do have those kind of zigzaggy, like I was talking about on, is it Ashley's, I think, with the shadow. And I like those, and I think that those really feel like motion. The one thing I'm going to point out that I think might be taking away from the feeling of motion is that the lines are very orderly. We have 3 sets of lines and they move together in like the exact same way. And I think that that makes something look a little more static. So like I was saying with Donna's, I would just like to see a little more unpredictability in here. I think the way you handle your brush is really good. You've got beautiful contrast in the edges, especially in this area right here. That's really beautiful. So you've got that really well. And I know you were using the crayons and it's a little harder to to keep things feeling painterly sometimes when you're doing that. So maybe that's all that is. But yeah, I would like for you to work on being a little more unpredictable with your brushwork, if that makes sense. All right, let's see. Christy. So this first one is hesitant. I definitely feel it looks hesitant. It's all kind of, it's fairly solid, and the brushwork in it is fairly smooth, which can make it feel very restrained. Your edges are tight and crisp, which again, kind of gives it that restrained, hesitant feeling. But strangely, what I think makes it feel hesitant the most is this open area here where the brushwork it gets a little rougher, a little bit more broken edges. And to me, that almost feels like the rock really wants to loosen up and kind of, be a little bit more freeform, but it's hesitant to really commit to it. So I think that's really good. Energetic. Girl, this is seriously energetic. I like how you had to put rock in there. But this does feel very energetic. I like the chaos of these brush strokes. It looks like you used watercolor. Did you also use the Neo colors? You're welcome, Annie. Because we've got a lot of textures in here. This has a lot of texture, which also helps translate that feeling of energy. Like if you think of, let's say, if you think of a tree with leaves on it, and that tree is, blowing in the wind, all of those leaves and branches, which typically look fairly orderly when it's not blowing, they get scrambled and their textures deform and meld with each other you used Inktense. Nice. They meld with each other in different ways and they create lots of different textures. And I think that that's what you did really, really well right in here. So I love that one. Your quiet one again, it feels nice and quiet. It's very smooth, but not uninteresting because we have the little hint of texture from the Inktense. So it's quiet, but it's not dead. And your soft, fadey edges there really help with that. So that's nice. One thing I'd like to see a little bit more of on your quiet and maybe even hesitant is this. Well, let's see. These edges over here look great. This edge, I think it would be a little more effective if it almost disappeared, kind of like this edge right here on, let's see. Oh, come on. Anyway, right over here on motion, the way that almost disappears. I'd like to see you bring things like that into some of these softer, more more delicate shapes. It helps sell that delicacy. And your motion here, it does feel motiony. So does your energetic. They both feel like they're kind of swirling, which in part is from those contour lines. But I love the chaotic nature of your brushstroke, your brushwork over here, especially this side, right there. And your when you were laying down the Inktense, some of these marks got a little wild, and that's nice. I would love to see you focus on that a little bit more. Some of those, do your kind of your spiral circle like that, but every once in a while break out of it. So let me show you what I mean here. So for all of you guys who used heavy contour lines, again, that's not bad. Mix it in with something that is clearly not a contour line to kind of break out of it. So let's say I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do my contour line for my rock. And now I'm going to work on making it energetic. I'm going to mix tons of different kinds of lines, and I'm moving it outside of the shape. Sure, the rock doesn't actually move that way, but it creates energy. And I'm still describing kind of the shape of the rock and the way it moves by where I'm putting my heavy work. So that's a way that you can use your contour lines but still create energy. Yeah, and I get it. I know that loosening up is hard. And that's what I want you guys to be practicing here. I want you here. This is what I want. I want you guys to later today, tomorrow, whatever, just before next week, I want you to just get pencils. It doesn't have to be colored pencils, watercolor pencils, crayons. You can use crayons, whatever. I want you to draw this rock as many times as you can. And don't worry about a particular emotion. We can talk about what emotion or what vibes we get from it after the fact. Good. I am so glad that you enjoyed the homework. Good, good, good. After I saddled you guys with the potato rock, I was like, ooh, maybe I should have picked something better, but I'm resolute in my decision. So I want you guys to just get anything. It could be a number 2 pencil. I don't care. And really, let's just see, I'm using contour lines there, but I'm not going, okay? We don't have to outline, but those are contour lines. I want you to make your rocks as messy as you can. This is not a rock, is it? No. But what am I doing? I'm experimenting with the marks that I can make and what those marks feel like. Maybe I'll grab another pencil just so I can continue to see the marks that I'm making. Unpredictable. Get that. And we'll go with the heavy weighted lines here. Let it taper off there as that moves away from us. So this is what I want you to do this week. This is going to be your homework. I don't want you to use paint, okay? Because the hand motion is the hand motion. Putting a tool on a piece of paper and making your hand do crazy. Watch the way a 3-year-old colors. Mimic that. A 3-year-old is going to come and start going like that. Maybe some of us need to do that to remind ourselves that it's okay to make just the absolute messiest, chaotic marks we can. That we don't have to, follow outlines or, anything. We are the artist. We can say, this is a potato rock if we want to. All right. Somebody just posted in Discord. What was that? Let's see. That's so cute, Christy. Let me pop it up here. I love it. Okay, so let's do this one real quick. So, in Christy's sky, we'll just start there. We've got these squiggly lines. Some of them are very narrow and crisp. Some of them are wider and a little more broken. And to me, it feels playful. It feels, the blue tells me it's a blue sky. So it's, a bright blue sky. But that energy in there just feels playful. And that works really well with your subject matter. I like that you did not contour the outside of the sheep in the traditional sense. It's not a big circle with squigglies. You used the marks to dictate where the contour is. And all the different types of marks are so good and they work so well together. And it feels like such a puffy, dense sheep. But his face is very smooth. The contour lines are really effective here because that sheep's face is smooth and that helps it stand out and look very soft from the rest of the body. And girl, your grass is pretty dang chaotic. And I love that. That's a good thing. Chaos is not a bad thing. I love that you have the different textures, but also you've got these like wild up and downs and your horizontals. So that is, telling us this is a flat ground. It looks like it's got a little bit of a hill to it, but some wild grasses on top. So yeah, I think your line work in that is top notch. Good job. All right. Let's see what other homeworks we have going on in here. That's the last one in here. Let's go over here and see if there's any I didn't. Oh, my mom. She's not here. She's out of town. Can I rotate this? All right. I cannot rotate it. So this one is Hesitant, and she used watercolor. And to me, this one feels a little bit more energetic to me because of the heavy textures at the bottom. I do like this open area up at the top. That feels much more still. And if you are hesitating to do something, you're typically going to be quite still. So I like that a lot. energetic. We've got some of the like the swirly, circly guys, and I think I would like to see your energetic brushwork be just a little more unpredictable. Like I'm pretty much the advice I'm giving everybody, huh? Unpredictable. It feels energetic, but also feels very predictable. Sparkle. All right, let's take a look. Why is my mouse doing that? It does feel kind of sparkly. It does feel like a sun dappling, you know, when light's coming through trees. Yeah, I like that one. That one works really well. What else? Oh, Joe. I did not see these ones. So Joe's quiet. It does feel pretty quiet. It's got some texture to it, but everything is contained, very contained inside the shape. And so it does feel quiet. Energy. I think it does feel energetic, but in a very quiet or flowing way. So I guess it would depend on what you were going for. When I say energetic but quiet, think of like a small river that you can see that it's moving, but there's no waves, there's no breaks. It's just got like that gentle sway on the surface. That's kind of what this feels like to me. Just a very soft energy. And quick. Yep, we've got some open brushwork in there. Really nice. And I like the broken edges around the bottom. Again, let's just kind of open that up a little bit, get a little bit more uncontrolled and unpredictable. Yeah, but those look really nice. And oh, I didn't see these from Christy. Oh, can you guys even see? No, you guys can't even see. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm doing it again. There. All right, here's Joe's that I just talked about. The quiet, that it's still got some texture to it, but it does feel quiet because it's very contained. This is the one that I said kind of feels like a slowly flowing river. It's got energy, but it's very controlled, subdued energy. And then the quick one, we've got the open brush strokes, some of those broken edges. Let's just work on being a little more unpredictable with it. Christy, what do we have? The One Direction. Those look really nice. Good variation in there. Yep, the cross contour only looks good. Hard, soft, and broken. So the broken, that looks a lot like the soft. Let's work on getting our broken a little bit closer to like this. See that right there? That's nice. Got some good breaks in there. Yeah. Otherwise, these look great. Hesitant, smooth, and energy. Nice. Good job. And Krista, I think Krista's here, right? All right, so we have energy. These brush strokes definitely show energy. I can see where the brush stroke kind of ended. We've got that chaotic little, brush mark end to it. I like the top a lot. That's a very, very energetic brush stroke. Love this because that's just like a natural thing that your brush just does, and you didn't run to change it or integrate it or get rid of it in some way. So this speaks of spontaneity, and that works really well for energy. Again, let's just try working on varying up kind of directions a little bit, letting the brush strokes dictate the contour. What do we have here? Quiet. I think that looks very quiet. Yeah. There's some texture in there because quiet doesn't have to mean, you know, dead or flat or completely smooth. But this feels very quiet. But I do like that you let it break here and there because it's just like, if you want to make your darks look darker, put it next to some light. If you want to make your lights look lighter, put it next to some dark. If you want to make sure that your element looks very calm, it is nice to pair it with just a little bit of something more energetic. Because compared to this brush stroke here, or even the little bit of chaos that's trying to come forward in these brush strokes, with those, I think it calls more attention to the quietness of the rest of your brushwork. So I really like that. I think that's a really good job. And motion. So on our motion, come on, there we go. We've got those delicious, fast, broken, open brush marks, and I really like them. Again, we've got this area here that seems to be something that just happened as part of, working fast and loose. And the fact that it's brushwork that's coming out from inside of the shape speaks to motion, and the fact that you didn't try to get rid of it makes my little heart happy. And Kara, we did Kara's. I think that's it. All right. So, guys, what do you think? Tell me whatever it is you think about what we just talked about. I actually really like this. I think that's kind of fun. Yeah, tell me what you think about any of it. Do we have questions on how to loosen up or break out of certain patterns? Or you're welcome. So here's what I want. This is what I want you to do for your homework this week. I want you to get a couple of different utensils. It doesn't matter what ones. Let's not do paint right now, just so we can focus on texture, okay? Oh, Meta, where's yours? Oh, did you post it just now? Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. Thank you for reminding me. All right. So, Meta, here we have energetic. These brush marks are very energetic. And it looks like, for the most part, we did allow the brush strokes to create the contour. And that looks nice. Love this shadow. Very energetic. It's very, a shadow can look so flat and boring. But I think one of the coolest parts about being an artist is that we get to put energy and motion into shadows. And it just brings a vibrancy to our artwork that otherwise wouldn't be there. So whenever you're painting a shadow, give that shadow some energy. This is really nice. I like that. All right, quiet. Very quiet. Same with that shadow. Super, super quiet. Again, let's work on really softening things when we are describing quiet. Yeah, let things blur, let them smear, let them. Can you see? Oh my gosh, I did it again. I'm sorry, you guys. Thanks for putting up with me. All right, here's the energetic potato rock. Very good brush strokes. Very lively shadow. Yeah. So the quiet, let's just break open these edges and let them kind of spill out. Let them fade away. Obviously not every single edge, because then we just end up with a big blurry ball, but find ways to quiet some edges down just a little bit. And motion, yeah, these are very quick brush strokes. I can see that these were done very quickly. They're very narrow. The color comes out mostly where the paintbrush went down, and then it fades out very quickly, which speaks to motion. And yeah, so I think that that gave it some good motion. Really like the motion in your shadow. Just again, let's work on being a little less predictable with our brushwork, opening that up. And for some motion, think about if a car drives by you really fast, you see a blur in areas. Typically, the direction it's moving, like the front of the car, you might see it is more crisp, but the back side of the car is going to be much blurrier as it just races past you. So that could be another way to sell a little bit of motion, is to open up one side or the other of the element to just show a bit of like a motion blur. But yeah, good job, guys. I'm so proud of all of you. Okay, so here's your homework. I want you to get a piece of paper, just paper, um, a few tools, whatever you have lying around. If you have Inktense, you can use those. Just don't use water with them. Just use them like crayons or something. Um, and I want you, see, I'm going to pick a few things that are different colors, have different textures. Let's go with this one and maybe a Sharpie, maybe a charcoal, just a few different things. And if you're not sure what it looks like, go onto YouTube and see if you can find a video of a 3-year-old coloring with crayons. Um, good, Annie. I love that. I want you to hold your utensil like a child. This is not how I'm telling you have to make art all the time. I don't mean to say break your habit and now we only use pencils and stuff like this. But reminding your body, reminding your eye, reminding your head what it looks like and feels like to color like a little kid is going to help you in the long run be able to loosen up a little. So if you feel like you have a hard time loosening up, this is for you. So, what I don't want to see next week, okay? I don't want to see anything like this. A 3-year-old would not do that. If you said a 3-year-old draw this potato rock, they would go. And then they might, do this with a crayon, or maybe they're going to get their charcoal and do that, and then it smears. Maybe they even pick up the fat Sharpie and they start doing this kind of a thing. Don't worry about the rock this week. You can if you want. If you want to redo the homework, again, that's fine. All I want is for you to just spend some time trying to make the most chaotic set of marks you can. Okay? Very uncontrolled. However you have to do it to make it uncontrolled. Hold your tool really uncomfortable ways. So I would typically hold the marker like this, right? Well, what if I hold it like this? What if I hold it like this and have to do it that way? What if I only use it sideways and I kind of twist it around? Those are the things I want you to experiment with this week. Because if your hand can do this without, freaking out and being like, oh, I'm doing it wrong, I need to tighten up. If you can do this, then when you come in to do your rock or a mug or whatever it is you want to draw, you're going to be much more likely to come at it from a very organic type point of view, rather than being very tight and very deliberate. Okay. You cannot get the 3-year-old next door to do your homework, but you can color with them and just mimic them. That's a really good idea. Color like a 3-year-old. My 2-year-old niece, I wonder if she wants to color with her Aunt Jane. Might have to borrow my brother's kid. All right. So, does anybody have any other questions, comments, concerns, whatever? The point of all of this is to just help you find a looser version of yourself and to start kind of developing the type of marks that will inform your personal style, because this is one of the main components of your style. What exactly is your homework? This. Scribble different types of materials. Just try to make something that is as chaotic as it can possibly be. One quick thing with that I don't want you to do, I don't want you to just mindlessly, you can do the potato rocks again if you want to. I know some people said that they wanted to do that. And I'll go over those if you want to do them again next week. But spend at least, I mean, it's like a 20-minute thing at the most. Do something like this. But what I don't want to see is we can get into this mindlessness when we're like, okay, I just need to scribble. All right, well, a scribble is, don't do that. You're not thinking about it at this point. You're not exploring to see what you can do. So instead, like I said, I want you to, what happens if I hold my pencil like this? See, I'm kind of flipping my hand all over the place. Those are interesting marks. What happens if I hold it, say, like this, and do something similar? What kind of marks do I get? Do long ones, short ones, dashes, whatever. We just want to loosen that hand up and get ourselves used to seeing chaos coming out of our hands, because when you're a kid, very often you get told, don't scribble, don't, stay in the lines. And that squashes that exploration. So we have to retrain it. Okay. So that you're much more willing to explore and experiment while you're painting. Nope, just random, just completely random. And then after you do this, if you want to do your potatoes again and try and take some of this energy into your potatoes to see how they change, absolutely do that too. But this, I want to see this next week. As chaotic and as deconstructed as we can possibly get. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? It sounds hard. It can be hard if you're resistant. Like I said, pretend that you're a 3-year-old. Color like a 3-year-old. It feels really good. It feels really good. Yeah. It shouldn't be hard. It's just printer paper, whatever materials I have on hand. Nothing valuable. Nobody has to see it except me. I want to see it. But other than that, take a picture of it and throw it in the fireplace, you know, when you're done, whatever. But do it. It's good for you, I promise. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go then. Next week, we are going to dig in a little bit more. We're going to have like an actual drawing that we're going to start doing and just try to bring all of these concepts into a drawing that's not just a weird potato rock. So be ready for that. Just bring some drawing utensils of any kind next week. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to let you go and I'll talk to you again soon. So have a good rest of your weekend.